Hi, I'm Ken Wallen with Nutrien Crop Connect here in Madera, California at our Madera production yard. And I'm going to be talking today about tank level monitoring in big bulk storage tanks. I'm going to go over how to install them. That way you can get proper tank level monitoring to manage inventory. First thing is safety. Of course, wear your safety vest, your goggles, any other protection material, harness, because we're going to be doing some climbing and the actual installation is going to be at the top of this tank. A little bit about the specifications and details as far as what we need before we start the installation is, first thing is the height of the tank. And most tanks have, of course, a plaque on the side, or you've got good records of how big your tanks are. So what we need first is the nominal height, how high the tank is. And then the second thing is the weight of the material, what's inside and the weight per gallon. That way we can accurately correlate the pressure that the raw data is coming in and tie that to an actual volume in the tank. Today we're going to be climbing up a KCL tank, which is 1,000,000 gallons, 9.6 pounds per gallon. And here shortly we're going to head on up the ladder and I'll show you how to drop them in and get site-specific real-time tank level monitoring. Well, here we are up top on the tank where the actual installation will take place. And in most cases, you're going to have a access lid, whether it's a manhole cover or a small lid like this. The sensor, what we want to do, when I ship it to you, it'll come coiled up. So of course, snip off the strings. We want to drop the sensor completely in the liquid. It's durable, it's not going to corrode, the cable is heavily insulated. So we want to take every foot of this cable and run it to the bottom of the tank. It's very important that the sensor itself is just resting on the bottom. So we can have all this cable submerged in the liquid. Run it down to the bottom of the tank. You'll have another cable here which has 7 pins on it. That we will plug into a port on the radio, and I'll work with you on exactly what port to plug it into, but most cases it'll be an EA port, and on the top of this radio you'll see designated ports, A, B, and D. You simply plug that in, and you can see I kind of secured the excess cable with some zip ties. I safely mounted the solar panel and the radio to the handrail using some hose clamps, which I'll send you. 7mm nut driver. Secure it with some hose clamps, some zip ties. It's all solar powered, so we don't need any power, any electrical. Take the solar panel, plug it in what's called the power port, clearly designated on the radio. Plug that in, the radio should instantly begin communicating to the cellular network and ultimately back to us here in Madera. This particular radio and solar panel we have communicating, since we're located here where we have a base station. This just is a smaller unit, a smaller version of what I will ship you. This is a larger cellular radio, operates basically the same way. Here's your solar panel, which will also be delivered. The most important thing is make sure, use your iPhone compass or a handheld compass, and make sure that the solar panel is facing south. That way this rechargeable battery inside here will get optimum sunlight and keep that battery charged. There's an antenna, which is also very critical. You simply thread the antenna on the antenna connector, mount it to the pole, stick the solar panel on, and as I mentioned, plug it into the power port. Again, any excess cable, simply secure, zip tie. Again, drop it down, close your lid. If it's a larger, heavier manhole or man lid, you may need to add a little bit of a spacer. That way that there's not pressure on that cable to where that cable might get pinched. So in some cases you might have a couple of bolts holding on a heavier lid. Simply loosen those, open that lid, and maybe if you think that it's causing a little bit of pressure on that cable, just add some sort of spacer or a shim to kind of alleviate that pressure. Well, here we are down from the big 1,000,000-gallon tanks, and I'm standing next to our 50,000 and 30,000 gallon tank farm, where we have another option in level sensing. We have the same type of sensor that has a 1/4-inch NPT threaded option, where if we don't have access to the top of the tank, and if there is a point down below, we could simply thread this sensor on and read the volume in the tank the same way we would by the drop-in option.